AI and journalism seems to be certainly a trending topic these days. Trending topic these days. But how many media managers, media practitioners, and even media researchers understand and appreciate the full transformative potential of this process we are embarking on? We are in the early stages of AI coming into newsrooms, coming into the business side of media, and do we yet, certainly in Sri Lanka, understand what this means? As someone who's been tracking how media industry here modernizes over time for more than 25 years, I'm aware that it can be a slow process, a gradual incremental process when our media industry has to embrace change, technological change in particular. I also know that there can be a lot of skepticism and even resistance to such change in certain parts of our media industry. Like many other sectors, the media industry in Sri Lanka is rooted in the analog era still. Large part of our media industry is still very much analog. It has not yet crossed into sufficiently digital ways of producing content, distributing it, and engaging audiences. We've had newspapers being published for nearly 200 years. We have had radio broadcasting for a century. So all these analog era legacy media continues and now coexist with the more recently emerging digital first or digital led media. So we have the analog digital duality in our media. So how is this going to affect, how is this going to be impacted, this reality going to be impacted with AI? These are some very quick thoughts. The one observation I want to offer is it has taken a full generation of 25 to 30 years for our media to find their niches online in the web. Those that did not adapt fast enough have gone extinct. And of course, with a little help from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, we see the early stages of the next wave with AI. AI entering both the newsrooms and the digital marketing side of media. I know the focus of this conference is on journalism, but the media industry as a whole, when you take into consideration, there are tools and processes, AI-driven processes that are already available for media to improve, streamline their marketing side and to improve their business side, which is necessary for survival. So it's the content and the distribution and audience engagement together that I think we need to look at when it comes to a limited market like Sri Lanka's. Changes are already happening, at least in a few media houses that I'm aware of, where journalists and media managers are more pragmatic, they are more open to the new tools and opportunities they bring. But the problem is, as one science fiction writer, William Gibson, has once said, the future is already here, it's just that it is not evenly distributed. So we have some individuals, some journalists, some managers in the media industry who are trying out AI-based tools and processes. The rest of the media industry isn't there yet. So the future is here, but not evenly distributed. There are three challenges that I see from based on my observations, based on my experience and interacting regularly as a trainer, as a mentor of journalists and newsrooms. These I have categorized with AII, letters beginning with A and then I and another I. What are these three? The first is awareness. We simply need to know what is happening elsewhere in the world and to know that these things are soon going to be upon us, if not already. They need to understand, our media practitioners and managers need to understand the range of tools, technologies and choices in relation to AI. AI is so much more than generative AI or ChatGPT as one brand. AI means so much more, and there is so much more than just generative AI packages and apps. And there are ethical and regulatory challenges that using AI brings to the media. Again, we need to be aware of those conversations and those issues as well. So that's the first A, awareness. And then innovation. We can study AI being used in the media industry elsewhere in Asian countries, and we can draw inspiration from it. But we need to try out, we need to adapt these to our realities and our own audience dynamics and market behavior. For this, we need imagination and innovation, both. Two qualities that are not found in abundance in our media sector. Now, where it happens, where innovation happens, it is usually from the small media startups, the recently founded media startups that are taking chances rather than the big media houses. In fact, many of the early adopters of AI tools are the media startups, but they lack the scale and the market reach to up their game. So they certainly find and pursue opportunities. They prove the case for AI in the newsrooms and in marketing, but they then can't up their game. So, but that's still very useful. That's a gap that the industry needs to cross. The third I is infrastructure and investment. Imagination and innovation are necessary, but they alone can't really help. To succeed, the media industry needs a sound digital infrastructure and adequate investments. The new government is prioritizing digital economy, and that's promising. Let's hope that in the process, digital infrastructure will become enhanced. We still have sections in the country which are struggling with even 3G coverage, let alone 4G and 5G, which are available in the more urban areas. So, despite large volumes of advertising revenue coming into the media sector, many individual media companies are struggling. That's the other reality. So investment from within the media industry are difficult to find. So we are not sure whether the industry can on its own invest enough in the new AI processors and retraining staff to take advantage of these AI-driven opportunities. So where will then the investment come from? That's a big question, and I don't have an answer for that. So awareness, and then innovation, and infrastructure and investment. All these factors have to fall into place for our industry, the media industry as a whole, to take full advantage of the opportunities that AI brings. Meanwhile, the AI bandwagon is going ahead. It's not going to stop for us. And the Sri Lankan media industry does not seem to be fully engaged in these conversations. For example, a few months ago in July this year, the Sri Lankan National Strategy on AI was unveiled. It's a public discussion draft still, so there's hopefully room to influence it. And it was prepared by a multi-stakeholder committee. I looked at the committee, there isn't a single representative from the media industry or media profession among about 25 people. And this is supposed to guide our nation's AI journey for the next 5 to 10 years. And yet, when I look at the draft strategy, it has no mention of journalism, although it contains 7 mentions of media, but only in relation to using media to raise public awareness about AI, and not recognizing or discussing that AI will also impact and transform the media itself. That part is either overlooked or it's not acknowledged. So, where do we begin to bridge these gaps? This is the big question. I hope some of the discussions and the researchers will this, that there is a disconnect between the evolving national discussions and strategies for AI as a whole and the media industry's place within that. They have almost forgotten the media sector and journalism in the larger AI strategy for Sri Lanka. Now, what the new government will do with the strategy, draft strategy, we don't know. Hopefully, there is still time and opportunity to influence it and bring in the media sector's interest as well. As a profession and industry, we in the Sri Lankan media industry need to reflect on three key factors. First, how AI tools are reshaping or will soon reshape both our content and our business models. So that's how it's going to reshape the way we do media, content and business. Secondly, how AI has already changed the ways our audiences are consuming our content. Audiences in Sri Lanka, as elsewhere, are a bit ahead of the media industry. They have changed how they consume, how they engage media content. So we need to play catch up. Thirdly, how AI's increasing presence in the newsrooms can affect public trust and credibility in media. For example, if news is compiled or processed partly with AI tools, do we label it? Do we say that this report was based on generative AI? Or what are the norms? What are the practices that our industry needs to consider and adopt? So these are the questions that are very practical that we need to ask and soon find answers. 1 year ago, and there is some guidance available, and let me just flag that. 1 year ago in November 2023, 16 media rights and media development organizations internationally came together to adopt the Paris Charter on AI and Journalism, which some of you may have already looked at or studied. It defines ethics and principles that journalists, newsrooms, and media outlets around the world can apply in their work with AI. The Paris Charter was written by a group that was brought together by Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, and it was chaired by an Asian, the Filipino journalist Maria Reza, who co-shared the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021, and therefore one of the best known journalists in the world today. Now, the Paris Charter has framed 4 core values and 10 principles. I'm not going to go into details, but let me just quickly mention the 4 values that are worth quoting. The first is ethics must govern technological choices within the media when it uses AI. Ethics. Second, human agency must remain central in editorial decisions. In other words, AI alone should not be allowed to produce and publish content. Human agency must remain in charge. Third, the media must help society to distinguish between authentic and synthetic content. We have to, in other words, label it. When it is part or whole synthetic content, we need to acknowledge it, label it, and we also need to increase media literacy of our audiences to recognize that there are increasingly synthetic content that is coming in, especially online. And the fourth value is the media must participate in global AI governance and defend the viability of journalism when negotiating with tech companies. That is as important as the first 3. Media must participate in global AI governance discussions and deliberations, and this conference could contribute to that. Let me share one worthy quote from the preamble to the Paris Charter in terms of winding up. I begin quote, "The social role of journalism and media outlets serving as trustworthy intermediaries for societies and individuals is a cornerstone for democracy and enhances the right to information. AI systems can greatly assist media outlets in fulfilling this role, but only if they are used transparently, fairly, and responsibly in an editorial environment that staunchly upholds journalistic ethics." In other words, AI is good and great, but how we use it matters ethically and transparently. End of quote. In summing up, let us remember these 4 points. AI is much more than gadgets and apps. There are ethical and regulatory needs and issues that we need to navigate. AI is radically changing the way we work in the media profession and media industry, whether we are ready or not, it's coming. Third, AI will challenge us in many ways, in both content and in the business models of journalism. Finally, AI will empower our audiences to monitor us better and hold us more accountable. The audience is getting more and more empowered, and that is a good thing. So, ready or not, here comes AI, and let us increase our readiness and our cautious, ethical embrace of these opportunities.